Please make sure you do your calculation very well before you go to Nigeria to invest. For those of you that are living here in Europe, I will tell you my personal experience of some of the mistakes I made investing in Nigeria while living here in Europe, because there's some type of business those of us living here in Europe should not do at all in Nigeria, while there's some type of business that you can do that might favor you, which I'll be explaining in this particular video. Now, for your business to succeed in Nigeria, you know that you need to be physically present in Nigeria, meaning you have to go to Nigeria as often as possible. Know that you have business in Nigeria, you live it with your brother, live it for your friend, live it for one or two person, and you know they cannot be able to manage that business very well. There's a very high possibility that that business might not grow, or you might even close down the business after some years. So for your business to grow, if you are living here in Europe, you must make sure that you are always physically present. Don't just listen to those of my content creators that will tell you, those of my colleague content creators that will tell you invest in Nigeria, and some of them they are not investing in the same Nigeria that they are telling you to invest in. Because how do I know? You cannot be investing in Nigeria and from January to December there's no evidence of you traveling to Nigeria. Anybody that tells you that he is doing business and is succeeding in it in Nigeria, and the person has never traveled to Nigeria for the past 2 years, for the past 3 years, just know that that person is lying to you. Because if you go and check some of their profiles, some of their page, you will never see any video where they went to Nigeria. So those ones are just auto business. Now, this is where the problem is, why I said you should be careful. You should do your calculation very well. Now, if you have a business in Nigeria and you decide to go and be controlling those business yourself, for you to travel to Nigeria today, you are going to spend a minimum of 2,000 euros, 2,000 euros to go to Nigeria. The money that you use to buy tickets, the money that you use to transport yourself from your house here to the airport. Once you get to Lagos, maybe you are staying in Benin, or you are staying in Port Harcourt, or you are staying in Ekiti or Aba State. You also take flight again from Lagos to Aba, take flight again from Lagos to Ekiti, depending on where you are staying. And the money that you also use to feed yourself when you are in Nigeria for that 1 week or 2 weeks, they're coming back again to Lagos, coming back again to Europe, and from the airport here come to your house, everything will amount to a minimum of 2,000 euros. At times it can even pass, it can even get to about 3,000 euros. Now, as of today, 2,000 euros is about 3.6 million naira. So if you go to Nigeria to control that business, meaning you are spending 3.6 million naira just for that trip. And if you now decide to go to Nigeria 2 times to control that business, you can be spending roughly between 7 to 8 million naira just to go and control your business so that that business will grow. And at the end of the year, you now made about 5 million profit from that business that you said you are doing in Nigeria. Now, do you do your calculation very well? You spend close to about 7 to 8 million naira to go to Nigeria to be controlling business that gave you 5 million naira. So if you do the calculation, you discover that you actually lose about 3 million naira. The reason why some of us don't know this is because when you now want to travel to Nigeria to control that business, you use the money that you worked here in your company. They pay you salary, or you are doing one or two contribution, or you kept money, one or two savings. You use it to sponsor yourself to Nigeria. You buy ticket from your salary, you transport, you sponsor yourself to Nigeria. So you don't feel it. You don't know that you're actually taking money from your pocket to service that business. So that is what some of you will tell you, I'm making 10 million from the business I'm doing in Nigeria. You calculate the money that you also spent to go and control that business. You discover that the calculation does not also add up. So that was one of the problem I had. I was actually making money, and when I now calculated the money I normally use to go and control this business, because I have to be on ground. If you are not on ground, that business will not move forward. At times I travel to Nigeria up to about 4 or 5 times in a year. When I calculated the money, I also calculated the profit that I was getting from the business. I discovered that I was running at loss. So that is one of the business some of us, that is one of the mistakes some of us are making. So if you are living here in Europe, please don't do any business that will require you to be on ground for that business to succeed. Like hotel business, like school business, like a store business, or you are into agric, you have a poultry, you have all these things and business that require you to always be on ground. If not, your brother will tell you one story, your sister will tell you one story, one friend will tell you one story, before you know, you close down that business. And if you now decide to be going home yourself, when you now remove transport fare, you discover that you are running at loss. So what I will advise for those of us living here in Europe, if you want to invest in Nigeria, invest in things that does not require your presence in Nigeria. You could invest in things like real estate. So if you can build a house in an open area, maybe in Lagos or even in city centers, you build a house there and you put it on rentage. Those ones they pay you every year, and you don't need to go to Nigeria to get your rentage. So an agent can help you get this money, so you don't waste your profit in transporting to Nigeria. Their shopping mall, you could look for a open space, build shopping mall, put those shops on rent. They pay you once in a year, or you can buy a land in a secured environment, leave that land over time, it appreciate. Just these are just few examples. So you just use your own brain to think of things that you can do in Nigeria that will not require you to constantly go to Nigeria to control it. Because if you do any business, you open shop, you are selling groundnut oil, you are selling electronics, and you need to always go to Nigeria to control it. If you calculate your profit and minus the money that you spend to travel, if you see that is not that it will not balance, I will advise you to do business that will not require you to physically be in Nigeria. Because some of us, we don't feel it, because they all pay you salary, you use that salary to buy ticket. They pay you on that salary, you use to buy shoe that you want to wear in Nigeria. They pay you, you join contribution, you carry that money, you use to sponsor yourself to Nigeria to monitor a business. And when you now do the calculation at the end of the year, you discover that some of us were just running in the same spot. I know a lot of friends that will keep telling you, na Nigeria now, na business for the rain now. Until I sat them down one day and we were doing this discussion, and when we did this calculation, we now discovered that they are actually running at loss, because they are using their factory work here, the work that they are working here, to actually sponsor themselves to and fro Nigeria. They go to Nigeria like 2 times, 3 times in a year, and then cannot make profit. So that was one of the mistakes I made. I was running a business that would require me to physically be in Nigeria. So I was going to Nigeria often, 2, 3, 4 times in a year. So when I did the calculation, and I discovered that it's not adding up. It's not adding up. So I felt I should come and advise some of us, because what is running now is invest in Nigeria. Don't invest here. Don't buy house here. Buy in Nigeria. Don't build house here. Don't do this one here. Do it here. But before you do any of these things, make sure you do your calculation, so that you not be running in one particular spot. That is just my candid advice. So if you have any other suggestion, you can also put it in the comment section, so that we all can learn from ourselves. Please make sure you share this video so that you get to as many people as possible. And don't forget to use tap send, that happens to be the best app everybody are now using to send money to Nigeria. If you put my promo code Heroes TV, they will dash you €5 in your first transaction. Thank you, and God bless you.